This video is not financial advice. Welcome to tracking my Bitcoin portfolio, day 28. I own the same amount of Bitcoin, but it's now worth $28,412.13, which is up $792.51 since yesterday. Now I'm going to go into these comments. This person said, most people use ChatGPT. Any reason you use Gemini? I use Gemini because it has like a deep think mode, and I just think it gives better answers. But I also use ChatGPT as well. They're both kind of useful, but don't rely on the answers as being right 100% of the times. Like sometimes it gives me answers that aren't correct, but they can both be useful. But I would say Gemini is just a little bit better. And then you also said it was a bit difficult for me to understand in the beginning, but I think it's kind of like a domino effect where the end goal is monetizing your Bitcoin through this channel by making videos on Bitcoin, proving you actually own the Bitcoin, which makes more people intrigued, which makes them watch. Eventually you become monetized on YouTube and reinvest that back into Bitcoin. Correct me if I'm wrong or I missed anything. No, that's basically the business model. Like I create videos about my Bitcoin portfolio. People watch the videos, I make money, I reinvest that money back into Bitcoin, and then more people want to watch my channel once I own more Bitcoin. So it's like a circular effect. I'm not saying it's gonna 100% work and that this is like a genius plan, but I think there is a unique idea. What I would like to say though is that there is one important thing to note is that the more you said it here somewhere. It's let me just find it again. Okay, right here you said which makes people more intrigued. So that's a very good statement there, because obviously if I were to own, let's say, $10 million in Bitcoin, that would be most people would be more interested in that than my current situation of only owning like 28,000. Even though that's the best that I can do and I try and provide as much value as I can, obviously more people would be more intrigued if I had, $10 million, $20 million. So there is a certain threshold where more and more people would want to watch my content because there's more kind of at stake. There's more money, which just kind of makes things more interesting. But that's all I have to say about that. So yeah, you basically got it correct. And then you also said totally respect that. That makes sense. So that's you guys should go watch my video I made yesterday. I went over some kind of interesting points on how I am actually monetizing the Bitcoin. So I'd highly recommend to just go and check out my video I made yesterday. And then this person said, makes sense, but that's a pretty specific scenario for your Bitcoin to be monetized. I'd say most people would watch your videos for entertainment or because of your insight rather than just knowing you have the Bitcoin. You would be monetizing your time and energy more than the Bitcoin, in my opinion. That's a fair opinion. Like I can't say that you're wrong because I don't know why you're making that specific decision. Like I can't be like, oh, you clicked on my video. Well, you only clicked on my video because I proved to you that I own the Bitcoin. Like I don't know what's going on in your head. So that's a perfectly correct answer. Like that could be how you are as an individual. That you're not really worried about the Bitcoin. You just want to see like how I explain things. So that's a correct answer. But I would also like to add to that and say that there is a certain threshold where more and more people most likely would be more intrigued to watch my content if I were to own more Bitcoin and prove to them that I own it. Like obviously, if I had $10 million, that would make things in Bitcoin, that would make things a little bit more interesting. And obviously, if I prove to people that I own it, that would kind of, I feel like more and more people would want to watch my content. So I feel like there's some aspects where I am correct, and then maybe you're correct. Like maybe some people they would just want to watch just to hear me talk. So yeah, it's a perfectly fine statement. But those are all the comments. I already answered this from yesterday, and this is my comment here. So thank you guys for leaving your comments. If you want to ask me a question, or if you want to add to what I'm saying, or if you think I'm wrong or said something incorrect, you can leave a comment and I'll try and answer it as best as I can in a video. Now I'm going to go into how much money I made from my chess YouTube channel on April 29th, $8.17. So I plan on just keep being consistent. like have said in my previous videos, it's incredibly difficult trying to make money from YouTube, but I'll just keep being consistent. And now I'm going to go into this question. It says, should you subtract the inflation rate from your gains? So basically, the inflation rate, like I'm talking about like on a yearly basis, if the inflation rate is 7% and your investment goes up by 7% in a year, you are supposed to subtract the inflation rate because your investment is being represented by fiat currency that has basically lost value by 7%. So a lot of people, they don't subtract the inflation rate for some reason. I don't know why it seems to be so confused. Like a lot of people don't really understand inflation. They don't understand that their assets are going up mostly because of inflation, and they never decide to subtract the inflation rate. Another important thing to note is that inflation is compounding. Let's say the inflation rate is 7%, and then the year after that it's 7%. It's 7% on the previous 7%. Okay, and then the third year, let's say it's another 7% inflation. It's 7% on the 7% that's on the 7%. So it's compounding. Inflation is compounding. And when I say it's compounding, it's compounding to zero. The dollar's becoming exponentially exponentially devalued. But you have to remember that the unit of account is going up. So even though dollars are like this is so difficult to explain, but so fiat currency is going down, but sometimes in hyperinflation the actual nominal amount on the bills will go up. So that's why you'll see like a trillion dollar Zimbabwe dollar, that's the nominal amount, but the actual value is hyperinflating downwards. So it's an interesting thing to try and understand. I feel like a lot of people should try and hone in on inflation, like how it affects their asset prices. Like should they like knowing to subtract the inflation rate to see their actual gains. I'll give you another scenario. Let's say you invest into Bitcoin and your investment goes down by 10% in a year. Should you also subtract the inflation rate? And the answer is yes. Not only did your investment go down, but since your investment is still being represented by fiat currency, and that fiat currency has gone down by 7%, you have to subtract another 7%. So not only are you subtracting the inflation rate as when your investments go up, but you should also subtract the inflation rate when your investments go down. Okay? And so a lot of people don't pay attention to this. A lot of people don't really kind of understand, which is okay because it is kind of confusing. I remember when I first thought about this in high school, I remember thinking to myself, okay, if this investment's going to go up by this amount in 20 years, how much are those dollars going to be worth in 20 years? And I remember I couldn't solve this problem. I remember asking my teacher, I was like, but what are those dollars going to be worth though? Like, what's the how much of those dollars are going to be inflated? And my teacher didn't even know. He was like, oh, it's still going to be worth a good amount. It's still going to be so I remember thinking about this problem and not fully understanding it back a few years ago, but now I understand it. You have to subtract the inflation rate, but you also have to take into account the CPI is the government's inflation rate. Like they kind of tell you what the inflation rate is, but it's a fake inflation rate. They pull out certain goods that have gone up by the amount that they want it to go up. So it's not a good representation of the actual inflation rate. The government inflation rate is around probably like 3% or maybe 2%. It really depends, but the reality is that inflation is more than the CPI. It's around 7%. So you have to subtract 7% from your gains. So if your investment goes up 10% in a year, you have to subtract 7%. The real amount of wealth created is 3%. Okay? So I want you guys to understand that. That is something that's really important. A lot of people don't pay attention to this, but it's essential if you want to actually know how much how much you're actually making in real value. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, or hopefully I explained that all correctly. But if you want to ask me a question, or if you think I'm wrong, then you can leave a comment. But yeah, always subtract the inflation rate, even if it goes up, and if your investment goes down, you still have to subtract the inflation rate because your investment is being represented by fiat currency that's gone down. Okay, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. Okay, and I also asked Gemini, subtracting inflation is essential to determine your real rate of return and confirm whether your actual purchasing power has truly grown. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into whoops, wrong thing. I'm gonna go into my monetization for the ROM investing. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm at 103. And I need 4,000 watch hours within 365 days. So if you could please subscribe to help me get to 1,000 subscribers to monetize this channel. My hope is that I'm able to just track my Bitcoin portfolio every day and then monetize the videos and be able to reinvest that back into Bitcoin and have like a circular effect of me making videos about Bitcoin, people watching those videos, making money from that, reinvesting it into Bitcoin, and then more people want to watch the videos because I own more Bitcoin. So it's a circular effect. But I don't really have anything else to say for today. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.